Welcome to the Big Boss Show. This is CJ. Very good morning to you. Hopefully you are having a lovely start to your Saturday morning. How's it going? It's the 15th of February, so this is the morning after Valentine's Day. As I was on my way to work, I was coming in a taxi, and the guy was saying there's a lot of couples coming early in the morning. So it looks like Columbus City and the suburbs have been very, very lively. But the Big Boss Show is starting up the third edition of this season's Big Boss Show, and I have a very special guest, a young one this time. We had Mr. Chandra Sharp on the first one, Dr. Asha DeVos in the second one. And today's guest is a very special man. My guest today is definitely an example for many to follow, especially at our age. He's only 33 very soon. He's a young entrepreneur who had a dream to open a premium men's clothing outlet to bring in world-class apparel to Sri Lanka and also customized to your liking as well. And he is living his dream. At this age, he's living his dream with his company, Stripes and Checks. He's the co-founder and CEO of Stripes and Checks. He started this company at the age of 26. And he is only turning 33 years in July this year. Despite his young age, he is already touted as a promising business leader in his own right. I have the pleasure and the honor of introducing to you Mr. Gajan Vinothan. Good morning, Gajan.
Hi, morning, CJ. How are you?
Welcome to the show. How are you doing? Is everything okay with you?
Yep, doing good.
Okay.
Excited to be here.
Excited to be here. Superb. Now, see, this is a Saturday morning. The show is starting at 9. A young chap like you. How is the usual Saturday morning like?
Generally quite hungover, but made an exception last night.
Thank you. Much appreciated. But usually it's a bit of a chilling and getting back to the normalcy mood kind of?
Yes.
Okay. Now, we're going to be talking a huge variety of topics. You're a young entrepreneur. There's so much we can learn from. And also your beginnings, how you got here. So kind of an inspiration you can provide to a lot of young listeners out there and to myself as well. I'm here to learn too from you.
I hope so.
Of course we will. Before we get into all of that serious discussions, now you're the CEO of the company at Stripes and Checks.
Yep.
What are you currently working on? Are there any upcoming projects? Tell us a little bit what exactly you're working on right now.
Well, right now, most exciting thing happening right now is we are opening our second store.
Right, where's that? Your first one is in Columbus 7?
Yes, on Rossmead Place. And
the second one is where?
In Mount Lavinia. So
okay.
Looking forward to opening that, a bigger place.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe in about 2 weeks.
In 2 weeks?
Yeah.
So the opening is going to be very soon?
Yep.
But if you're expanding into an outlet, that means business is good?
Yep. Picking up.
It's picking up. No?
Yeah.
Very good. Now you've been in the business for six years now.
Yeah, almost 6 years.
Almost 6 years, right? So currently that's where you had outlets of expanding. So are you in the process of expanding further?
Yeah, we're actually looking at increasing our product portfolio.
Mm-hmm.
So currently we are focused only on shirts,
mm-hmm.
and now we are looking at moving into a more broader menswear category, like including T-shirts, pants,
mm-hmm.
and accessories and whatnot.
And you're going to apply the same philosophy of Stripes and Checks, the same model into this, or are you going to be importing? What's the strategy on this?
No, all manufactured in Sri Lanka. Yeah, so want to empower and contribute more.
To the Sri Lankan one. Cool. So now you're the CEO, so you're at the top of the hierarchy. So let me ask you.
Huh? Not easy.
Not easy.
Lot of expectations.
And also this is a startup also. 6 years is relatively young when you look at all the companies that are here, no?
Yep.
What is your day-to-day like as a CEO?
I'm in a lot of areas to look at. The most important thing for startup would be cash flow. Trying to manage your cash flows, because you have good days and bad days. So mitigating risk and trying to come out on top.
So your day-to-day would be like what? Meetings or strategizing, or you alone in a room sitting in a desk and planning out what am I going to do next, or there's people around you, meetings? What is it like?
So we have sales meetings with our sales staff at the showroom. Then we have corporate clients whom we again go and approach on a weekly or monthly basis.
Right.
And then strategy level with my other co-founders and directors.
Kalna and
Udara, and then we have Krishant also helping out, Ashan Rosh also.
Right. We'll get into that dynamic of those founders later. We'll dive deep into work as we go on with the show.
Sure.
This is a 1 hour show, Mr. Vinothan. So this is going to be about you. As I told you, we are going to get into everything about you and how you got here. So we're going to go at the beginning, your childhood. So your dad and mom, I want to talk about them. And your dad was also in the fashion industry at one point.
More into apparel manufacturing, though.
Right, manufacturing.
So yeah, he used to work at this company called LM Apparels.
Okay.
That is now, I think, known as. Not, I think it's known as Brandix.
Brandix, right?
Yeah. So.
So was he? So was it the company that Brandix took over, or evolved into Brandix?
No. So it was more of. I mean, it was more of a rebranding effort, if I'm not mistaken. So he was, I think, there from 1986 to 98 or 99, something like that.
Right. So, so your early, I think your exposure to this industry that you're in would have been pretty early with your dad being in it. Would that be correct?
Partly, yes.
Partly. Why would you say partly?
I mean, but because they were more into, I mean, he was more into manufacturing, but what I want to do was more in the lines of retail.
Retail. So, but did you learn how the process works? Were you involved in dad's business, going and checking out what it was?
Not a lot, but had an idea of how things work. So that helped a bit. But more of it was on the job.
On the job.
Training and learning on the job.
Right. And your mom, not much I could find out about your mom, and what role did mom say? And what were your father and mom like? I want to talk about that, growing up as a little Gajan. What was your parents like? And also talk a bit about your mom also.
Good. I mean, upbringing was very good.
Colombo, you were born in Colombo?
Yes, born in Colombo. I mean, mom is a lawyer by profession.
Wow. Okay.
And growing up, she used to teach, I think, at ladies' college for a long time, and then a lot of tuition and all of that. And then.
Did you ever learn under your mom as a student?
Nope, thankfully not.
Was she a strict one?
I think so.
Who was the good cop, bad cop dynamic within the parents?
I mean, I would say dad was more good cop, mom was...
Really?
Yeah.
Even Mr. Shafter in the first interview also was saying that his dad was the good cop. Usually sons are more attached to the mothers. Mothers have a little bit of a leniency, but it seems to be the opposite.
Well, now I'm a lot more closer to my mom.
Right.
But growing up, it was, I mean, as a child, in the childhood, I would say it was my dad. So.
So, and you also have a sister, a younger one?
Yes, 3 years younger than me.
And she's, let me guess, is she a lawyer?
Yeah.
So she is doing what your mom would have wanted. Did they have any expectations of you becoming a lawyer or any pressure from your parents?
Nope. I mean, they were more, I mean, what my parents wanted me to do was more on the corporate side and be an employee in an organization and maybe work my way.
And that you have also done to a certain extent, right?
They weren't really happy. I didn't tell them when I moved out of my full-time job to start this.
Right.
And when they knew, they weren't very happy. But I suppose they're okay now, yeah.
And at some points you need to fly on your own.
Yes.
Okay. So, so growing up, what was your dynamic, your relationship like with the sister, younger sister, rivalry? What kind of role
love hate.
Love hate.
Yeah.
Is it still the same?
Pretty much.
Okay. Now she's a lawyer now.
Yes.
And is she involved with your company?
No, not.
She's not.
No.
She does her own practice.
Yeah, I don't want her anywhere close.
Why again? Because you avoided your mom. Is it the same dynamic?
Yeah. Some keep working.
Family
separate.
And your father is not involved in any way, even as a consultant with stipend checks?
Nope.
Conscious decision, or he just preferred it that way?
No, I mean, I also didn't want, and he also doesn't get involved in my stuff. So.
Okay. You wanted to be your own man.
Yeah.
Something like that. So another thing, when you talk about childhood, the parents and things, we always, no matter how old you get, you always talk about certain things that you remember fondly from your childhood. So is there anything that you can think of that brings a fond memory? It could be anything, a trip, a vacation you went to.
I think our annual, I've always had a birthday party. I think when I was very young.
Okay.
And looked forward to all my classmates coming and celebrating with me.
Right.
Nothing. I mean, back in the day, looked very fancy, but. Reflecting back, I don't think, very simple, but always had a good time.
Always had a good time. So his birthday parties there.
Annual, yes.
Annual. Well, that's pretty nice. Very nice. But, those are all fond memories.
Yes.
Bad ones? Any earful you got from your parents? A beating?
All the time, especially from mum.
Really, huh?
Yeah.
Proper beat down?
Proper beat down. I mean...
what would be like a reason why she would beat you down with? Like, what would she discipline you for?
Either for not studying or not waking up to go to school. Various. I mean, my mum, I used to tell this, most of my close friends would know this, but my mum had 3 canes.
Wow.
Yeah. So, one for me, one for my sister, and one for the dog.
For the dog also?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, proper whipping.
So your mom sounds like a proper, lawyer by profession, but also quite the disciplinarian, no?
Yes, definitely.
But, we talk about that, at that time, of course, it would have been pleasurable for us to go through those kind of things. But now when you look back at it, we look at it very fondly, no?
Yeah, of course.
And you think that
no regrets, good upbringing, so...
True. And that kind of disciplining now, see, there's a lot of, even on the morning buzz that I do on the weekday morning shows, we talk about this kind of thing, punishment by parents back then to now.
Yeah.
But what's your opinion of it now in terms of that kind of disciplining?
Parents are, I think, a lot more lenient now. Very rarely do you here I've never seen any of my friends have a go at their children. So,
what's your opinion about that though?
Balance. Sometimes if they can tend to get a little stubborn, so maybe you need to put them in line. But if they understand and learn from things, then you don't really need
it's
to.
not necessary.
Yeah.
Right.
It's try and draw a balance.
A balance between the both.
Yeah.
Okay. And an important part of childhood, of course, your parents, how they grow you up, what kind of morals and values they teach you. And another institution you get that from is your school.
Yes.
School plays a big role. And you went to the same school that I went to, St. Thomas's Prep School. Tell us about this. Kolpire. So you're representing St. Thomas Prep, so am I. But was your father also a Tommy?
Yeah, he studied at Mount.
At college.
Yeah.
And he put you to prep.
Put me at prep mainly because of the distance. I live in Bambalapitiya, so I was born there, grew up there, so still live there. Prep made sense logistically.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about St. Thomas's Prep and the experience, because I found out that you left school at grade 8.
Yeah.
But you started your schooling career at Prep anyway.
Prep, yes.
So tell us a bit about that experience studying at St. Thomas's.
Prep was very good. Learned a lot, made good friends whom I still am very close to. Think we started school in 94?
94. When Mr. JSL Fernando was principal, and
yes.
I think 95 is when Mr. Chetty
came in.
So this is 94 school, yeah?
94 school, I can remember, and then pretty much I had a good time at school. And I think I left in grade 8, in 2000, so almost 6 years, a little over 6 years at Prep. Latter part of my school, time at Prep, my mum decided that I needed to be disciplined further.
Really? Yeah, because I've known St. Thomas's Prep for being a champion for discipline. I remember Headmaster Mr. Chetty used to every Wednesday assembly. I don't know whether you still remember this. Character, conduct, discipline. CCD.
Yes.
Do you remember those?
Of course.
So she wanted more.
She wanted more, and then she said, okay, best place for me, even though I lived in Bambalapitiya, was to put me in boarding.
Wow.
I was in boarding from grade 6 to 8.
Grade 6 to 8, you were in boarding at Prep Hostel?
Yeah.
Wow, I did not know that. Yeah. I did not know that. But and again for discipline.
Discipline, okay. Start to study and I was.
But at that young age, living away from your parents from grade 6 to grade 8.
You can't really say living away from parents because I used to see them every weekend and
you go to the weekend back home.
Yeah, Bambalapitiya, Kolpiti doesn't make
a big difference.
Yeah.
But then at that age, going apart and living in a hostel, how did you take that?
At first I didn't really like it, but then I made friends there at the hostel, and then a lot of extracurricular activities happening, a lot of sports after school and all that. So, that's where I learned to play basketball when I was put at the hostel. So, enjoyed it actually towards the latter part of it.
And you did basketball also in school?
Yes, that's where I started. It started in grade 6. Yeah.
Okay, and you did on school levels, you played basketball for the team?
Prep, yes. Then when I moved out, not really. but then as a more social game, I used to play. I mean, since I left school and started Stripes and Checks, and even before that, when I was employed at PwC and Amber, I used to play a lot of basketball.
Okay. Now from St. Thomas's Prep, you moved to Stafford International.
Yes.
And the move you made was because of your mom. So that was for discipline reasons?
No, that was mainly for academic
How
reasons. So thing is, in prep, I was at least when we were in school back then, it was only either Tamil or Sinhalese, right?
Yes, Tamil or Sinhalese.
Yeah, so I studied in Tamil, and then was none of us at home speak Tamil, so was finding the language to be a lot difficult.
Right.
So my sister wanted to, I mean, it was a lot worse for my sister, and she wanted to move out.
Where was she studying?
She was at Ladies.
Okay.
She was at Ladies College, and then
Ladies also had the similar problem, Sinhala
yes,
Tamil medium.
Sinhala Tamil. So English wasn't introduced as a medium back then.
Okay.
So sister was moving out. Then I said, "Listen, I mean, it's not working out for me either. Why don't I move as well?" And wanted a little change in atmosphere, scenery, or whatever you call it.
Right.
So so grade 8, left in 2000, grade 8.
And how was the experience like at Stafford International? And did you have culture shock from semi-private school that was prep, St. Thomas's Prep to Stafford International? Culture change?
Not really. I mean, no, not really. I mean, only if from a boys' school to a mixed school, but other than for that, not a big culture change.
Okay.
No.
Okay. Now, schools play a big role, especially in a boys' school. It plays a big role in shaping our character. If I were to ask you, well, I am going to ask you, what did you learn from prep that defines you and in your characteristics, and also what influence did Stafford International have?
So prep, especially, say learning to meeting and associating people from all walks of life.
Right.
And then hostel gives more, I mean, a lot more discipline, and then I would say discipline was the most this thing, and the friends that I made. I won't say only from prep, but from both schools.
From both schools.
Yeah.
And Staffordshire, what was the?
Stafford also, I think the main reason my parents chose Stafford was again for, I mean, they were known as school for discipline and academics and all of that. But not that I studied a lot, but
not exactly the studious type.
Not really, no.
Okay.
So Stafford also met quite a few good people, especially my A-level. When I A-level, we had a lot of people coming from local schools.
Right.
So I mean, those are the friends I still continue to hang out with. But all in all, a good experience at both ends.
Okay. So now, see, so some of the principles that I remember learning from St. Thomas's Prep was the first thing that comes to your mind is your discipline.
Yeah.
Do you still remember those days, and does it have any influence in your character now?
Yes,
it does.
definitely.
It does. And
course.
Stafford also has that kind of influence on you.
Yes.
Well, school does make a big influence in the way you are. It basically shapes you. It plays a big role. Some would say much bigger than your parents when it comes to shaping who you are. We are talking to Mr. Gajan Vinothan today about his beginnings, and he is the co-founder and CEO of Stripes and Checks. We spoke about school and how important it is and what role his parents played in who he has become now. The show will continue. We gotta go for a break. We gotta thank our sponsors who make this show possible. And when we are back, we're gonna dive deep into further about his education, and we'll eventually get to his the entrepreneur that he has become now, his beginnings, his influences, inspirations, all of that coming up on the Big Boss Show. You're tuning in with me, CJ. Your time is 9:22. We're gonna go for a break. We'll be right back. Celine Dion giving you To Love You More right here on the Big Boss Show. You're tuning to Colombo's greatest hit station. That is, of course, Legends 966. Welcome back to the show. This is CJ. If you're just tuning in, where were you all this time? But then again, you just joined in. We are tuned into the Big Boss Show, of course. My guest today is Mr. Gajan Vinothan. Now, you heard Celine Dion with To Love You More. We started the show with Gabriel, Out of Reach. As you know, as a feature on the show, we play the music that our guest requests. It's his selection. Today, it's his selection. Gajan, where does this music taste come from? You're soon to be in your early 30s, but you listen to a very a bit of a generation before, no?
80s, 90s.
We play that a lot, but
Yeah.
where does the music come from? Is it something you grew up with, or this is what you like?
Predominantly, yeah. And what my parents used to listen to as well. So little bit of influence there. And then most of my friends who appreciate music also tend to listen to a lot more.
Of course. There's nothing wrong with this music. That's what we play here. We play here on Legends as well. But I was just wondering where this inspiration for this kind of music comes from. Now, we were talking about your early beginnings, your childhood, your schooling career, and then you went on to studying SIMA.
Yes.
Okay, so your passion comes into accounting. You are good with numbers. Is that why you picked that particular?
I'd like to believe so. I mean, did for A-levels, London A-levels, I did. I did accounting and mainly commerce stuff. So business studies, accounting, and all that. So got an A for accounting. So thought might as well continue with that since I'm good at it.
And you were good at it.
Yeah,
you would like to think so.
I would like to think so. And I was working at PwC as well, which is an audit/accounting firm. So
yeah. That's where you started your career, PricewaterhouseCoopers, and you were a senior associate involved in auditing and advisory.
Yes. So started my career in 2008.
Okay.
At PwC in audit, but then moved into advisory / project management. So was there for almost 3 years and left as a senior associate.
And then you moved to popularly known as Amba Research, but they're known as Copal Amba. Moody's subsidiary. Now, there you were a capital markets equity research analyst. Sounds very fancy.
Sounds very fancy.
But what do you basically do? Give us an idea.
So we do investment research. So basically take listed companies,
right?
Not local, mainly foreign or US-based, primarily US-based companies. Look at their financial statements and interpret how they will perform in the future.
Okay. So this is basically helping out an investor whether this is the right investment to make.
Yes. In short, yes.
In short, that would be it. Now, you worked there. At that point, you also said that your parents were, wanting you to move into corporate life and go up the ladder on that end.
Yes.
And at that point, were you also in the same mindset that this is where I want to be?
Nope. Always, I mean, what I do now, which is stripes and checks, is something that I've been wanting to do since I was in school.
Oh, so your inspiration for this business comes very early.
Very early.
Very early. Okay, we'll delve into that in a little bit. But I want to talk about these two companies and these two jobs that you did.
Yeah.
What did you learn? What basically did you learn? Probably you could have learned that you adapt in your own business now.
A lot, actually. I mean, PwC looking at financial statements. I mean, both companies actually looking at financial statements, see how companies work, and you're exposed to a lot of diverse industries. So, a lot to learn from how each of them operate, from retail companies to manufacturing companies to service-oriented companies. So, I learned a lot from both places. If I was to tell you how these
would it be the focus that now when you're running your business, one is the vision where you want to be, the ambition, but then there's also the understanding of your resources, your limitations, when to make the right move. Would you say that's something you learned, that side of it, the costing, the accounting, the numbers?
Yeah. So looking at numbers is something I would say that definitely learned from it, but even though I was good at it, I don't really like the accounting subject matter. So I would say I prefer looking at what I'm doing now. I would say I'm more into operations and marketing.
Okay.
So
because ambition comes from marketing.
Yeah.
It's the limitation and tells you whether you can jump on, or comes from accounting.
Yes, exactly.
But I guess with your strengths in marketing, but with the knowledge of accounting, you can find that balance. Did
yes,
that help?
100%, of course.
Definitely,
yeah.
Okay. So are you involved in your company, which I'll get to, in looking at mainly financials? Do you look at those?
Over the top, yes, but
not in too much detail.
Not in too much detail. So, which I mean, what I always believe is focusing on your core competencies, and if whatever you're not good at, get someone else to do. So we have our own outsourced accounting team that we work with. So and they are pretty good at their job. So it gives us a good balance.
But I think with your beginnings in accounting, I guess you can't be fooled because
No,
you know
course.
how it works.
Yes.
It's not like you completely trusted this. Okay, handle my accounting.
No, definitely.
You
not.
know what you know what when you look at
Yeah.
a sheet, you know what they are
Exactly,
talking about,
yeah.
and you can find the mistake. That is quite the balance. Now you were talking about how in school days itself you had the passion to start this business. Now, at what point did it happen and why? Like, where did the influence come from? Now, your dad was in the manufacturing, so clearly your business side doesn't come from him. Maybe the know-how of how the industry works, probably.
Yeah.
Where did the influence come from in starting getting into fashion?
Reading a lot of magazines, and then also, I knew fashion was something that I wanted to be in, but more so into shirts was because, at least when we started Stripes and Checks in 2014, or when we came up with the idea in 2012, 2013, we didn't have a place. There wasn't a place I could shop in Sri Lanka.
Really?
If I walked into a shop, I can take a standard size shirt, but then either the arms will be too short or I won't be able to fit to put my top collar button for a tie.
It's the same problem I face, being a little bit on the heavy side for me. Also,
And tall,
yeah, and tall also.
Yeah.
So I go for a size 18, but then my arm length is not enough.
Not enough.
So that's the kind of reasons why I have difficulty in those. So
Yeah.
I have very, very few shops that I can trust and rely and go and check.
Yeah.
Now, see, I want to get back to that point you said where, you realize that buying any form of clothing required most of us to go overseas.
Overseas,
Now,
yes.
what do you mean by that? Does that mean that our stores don't have that, what the overseas, give you?
Back then, yes.
Okay, what does that mean though?
So
What does
back
it
then,
mean?
in the sense, in terms of variety, casual, part, evening wear, office wear, the feel of the shirt, which boils down to the fabric. So there are a lot of examples. Sometimes our shirts here tend to be a little bit boring. So not a lot of color, staple colors. So hence, I'm sure you'd agree that most of us travel abroad. Or at least back in the day, used to travel. When we go abroad, or we get someone to bring us stuff.
Yeah, I remember my uncles when they sent, basically what I wanted was t-shirt, shirts, or these fancy names. Now, even now when most of us boys, when we go shopping, we just want a shirt. Color, does it look good? That's it.
And
Fits.
most importantly is the fit.
Is the fit, that's right. But we don't really look at fabric or what is the style or does it. Now, of course, I think
people are making a more conscious decision when they buy a shirt by looking at the fabric and see how it feels and along with the fit. But so it's a change that's happening.
Okay, so is that the opening or the vacuum that you saw? Okay, you know what, Stripes and Checks could exploit that.
Of
Is
course,
that why you started?
definitely, yeah.
Okay. Now you had the dream of this, of getting into fashion at one point with business.
Yeah.
But at what point now, you were working still when you started the business. You were 26, you were working at the firm at that time, Amber Research at that time?
Research, yes.
At what point did you think, okay, this is the time to start? How did that come up on that?
I wasn't the only reason, the only reason I made that decision was because I wasn't performing at either of the two places.
Work-wise?
Yeah, work-wise. So I
Really?
was, so you can't do, it's like giving half here, half there, and not really, I wasn't making progress either at my
In either
workplace. Yeah, all these things. So then I thought, listen, okay, I'm 26, might as well take the plunge and see how this works out.
But that's a risk, no?
Yeah,
in making that kind of move. Now you said your parents weren't happy.
Yeah.
Because there's a reason why.
Of course.
It's a risk.
Yeah.
Giving up a stable job that gives you a stable income. Going into this. We will talk about that later in terms of why that kind of taking risk factor is important in entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
But how did you make that decision? This is it to go. I know the performance, Is that the only factor that you thought, you know what?
Yes.
I
Thing
managed
is,
to do something.
you have to put a lot of effort into what, especially when you're starting a business. So couldn't really do it doing a full-time job. So thought, okay, let's dive in and see how this works. worst case scenario, I mean, I'm 26, say 3 years down the line, if it doesn't work, okay, I'm 29. Hopefully, I'll be able to get back.
Come back into corporate. So you had a plan B.
Plan B, yes.
Okay. Now, how did you go about starting Stripes and Chips? Now you made the decision. Okay, I need to do one. So when you're working, you would have thought. How did you go about starting this?
So pitched my idea to my two partners, my co-founders, who are Udar and Ashan. So we started.
And they came from school.
From Stafford. So they both of them came to Stafford to do their A-levels, and I mean, we immediately became friends, best friends eventually. So always was pitching. I mean, telling them, listen, this is what I want to do, and blah blah blah. And then they were like, okay, let's start this.
Okay, so does that mean, see now, best friends, we all talk. I have talked to my friends about the businesses I do, and you share things.
Yeah.
But getting them as business partners is a whole other level of trust.
Yeah.
And so, was it a conscious decision to choose Kalan and Udara, or did it just happen because these were the only two who were interested?
No, it just happened. I mean, I didn't pitch it to a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
It was only them.
Mm-hmm.
Back then, and they were like, yeah, it seems, and they also, I mean, both Karl and Udar have entrepreneurial flair, so they were like, okay, this sounds like a good idea, let's try this out and let's see how things work.
Okay, I guess in a way it was advantage that they also had that kind of entrepreneurship flair, as you put it. But is it easy to work with friends, or in your experience, I think you work with friends now, so is it easy to work with them, or do you still separate friendship and business with these?
It's easy to work. I mean, I wouldn't say it's the same case for everyone, but it's easy to work with them, and I mean, there is a common understanding that we have, and when it's business, we only talk business, and then we don't let both interfere into our friendship.
But I guess the friendship helps in terms of, how would you say? You would say in terms of getting your work across and your ideas across.
Of
much
course,
more easier?
Yeah.
There's no fighting to convince someone?
No. And no, definitely not. No.
Okay, there's a mutual trust.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, in one of the previous interviews you've done, when they was asked you, when a question was put to you about, what do you think about the men's fashion industry? You called it as a gym. It's very healthy, and that everyone's working out to get to the same triathlon or something. I think that was an analogy you made. Or am I right?
I think, but I don't remember saying this. But
okay. But what that means, what the understanding that I got was that the market for men's clothing is saturated. Would you agree? There's so many players showing so many things, and
right now I would say people might believe or like to think that it's saturated, but no, there is scope for you to. There is definitely scope for you to come out then try something out on your own, something different. You have to of course differentiate. I mean, differentiating is the key factor, and also be innovative. Okay, so then what role did Stripes and Checks play? Right now, if I was to ask you, if I'm asking you now, why is Stripes and Checks different? How would you reply me? So, if you look at it, unique selling point is our custom tailored shirts. I mean, that's what we started with.
Yes, I want to touch you on that. The traveling tailor concept. Now, I know that for people who are listening out there, when I got to know this company a couple of years ago, and they started out this concept called traveling tailor. Basically, you go to someone's house, do the measurements,
home office,
and you do the measurements, come back, work, and you take some samples of the fabric, come back, switch it up, go back and deliver it.
And we deliver it or call the customer in for a fit on and
amendments.
Amendments if necessary, and then then we deliver the shirt.
At that time, as far as I know, no one else did this traveling tailor concept.
No.
So was that a way of you kind of setting yourself apart from the competitors? Is that why you started that? Obviously, it gave you an edge.
Yeah, gave us a bit of an edge, but not to set us apart from our competitors, but more of a convenience offering. Because I mean, business people, corporates, people in the corporate world don't really have time to head out and come to a shop, give measurements, select a fabric. I mean, it's a bit of a time-consuming affair.
Yeah. Mm.
So it's not like you can walk into a shop where you bought a shirt before. Okay, you see this, 16 and a half or 17 or whatever the size fits you. You pick up a shirt and leave. So you're in and out in 5 minutes. Here, tailor making a shirt, the process, giving your measurements, selecting the fabrics, choosing your customizing options and all that generally takes about good 20 minutes. So saves time by having someone come over to you.
The customer, that's convenience.
Yeah.
Convenience is the main factor. So customization, is that what Stripes and Checks thrive on?
Yes. That
Okay.
is
And in terms of
customization and fit.
and fit
And fabric.
and fabric. Now, you earlier in the show you made the point that almost everything is manufactured here in this country.
Yes.
But with the fabric of out of the country.
Yes, fabric is imported, but all of the manufacturing is done in Sri Lanka.
In Sri Lanka. In one of your interviews, you had said that you want to bring that international flair, the selection, the quality into Sri Lanka. That was the point, no? Of
Yes.
starting Stripes and Checks.
Yep.
And do you feel you're going to follow that philosophy throughout?
Of course, definitely. I mean, that's mainly that's what has worked well for us in the past, and I'm sure that's will help us succeed in the future as well.
It's one of those unique selling points you have.
Exactly.
But do you still have the traveling tailor concept? Or did you drop it?
We don't promote it in the open, but I mean, customers who call us and say, "Listen, guys, I need to order a couple of shirts. Can you send someone over?" Yes, by all means, we do.
Okay. Now you're setting yourself in the market as correct me if I'm wrong, as a premier store for men's fashion clothing. You're targeting that end.
Not entirely, because I mean, our custom tailored shirts are generally priced at about, on average, between 5,000 and 6,000 for a tailor-made shirt. But we also have a ready-made collection that starts at about 2,500, 3,000. So
That's pretty much the standard in the market.
Yes.
Anyway.
So not really, I wouldn't say premium, but I would say maybe affordable luxury.
Affordable luxury.
Yeah.
Quite
So
a fancy term to put it, but
yeah.
prices makes sense. I
Yeah.
get that. Now, see, in a fashion, especially here in this part of the world, there's a fight between quality and cost.
Yes.
Now,
of
you have
course.
always been striving and trying to make the best quality product
Yeah.
available for the customer.
Still
Now,
doing.
but there's still you're doing that. But then there is this fight between quality and cost. How do you bridge that gap, and how do you see the Sri Lankan market? What's the most dominating factor, quality or cost?
I think quality plays a big role. I mean, what we've noticed is the customer is okay to pay a marginal premium.
Marginal premium. Okay.
For quality.
For quality.
Yeah.
But then, if you look at the B and C grade market, mainly it's the cost. Do you feel that that's a what is your understanding of that side of the market? Is it something you don't want to get into, or do you
that is something that we don't want to get into, because we have plans of expanding overseas or selling overseas, and we don't want to be on the we don't want to compromise on our product to sell at a lower price.
Yeah, but that's your company standpoint. But
Yeah.
where do you see the market mostly on?
I mean,
Is it
volume
mostly
is
on quality or cost?
volume is. I mean, if you are to do volume, it's mainly on cost.
On cost.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's an area that
so
you don't want.
it depends on who you want to cater to, and we are looking more at the corporate crowd, assistant managers, and
So
above.
appreciate quality more than cost.
Yes.
Okay. Now, in one of these interviews when I was doing research, your fashion statement, when they asked, what is your fashion statement? You had made three words. You simply said, dress to impress. Impress who? Yourself or the audience that you're going to go and entertain or do whatever?
Both. Feel good factor, I mean, obviously for yourself. And then, when you dress well, you generally tend to impress people, look at you.
Comfortable in your own
Yeah. And when you dress well, people tend to recognize you and pay more attention to you. I hope that's the case.
But I
think that's the case.
But I guess the first thing to do is to make yourself feel good and feel comfortable.
Of course.
Then only outside.
Priority, yes.
superb. Now, you had some very proud moments in Stripes and Checks. I saw you have won some entrepreneurial awards, venture fund also you had won.
Venture engineers.
Sorry. So, your proudest moment with Stripes and Checks, I think you, in a question you had asked, it's starting it and then winning that.
Yeah.
But then pick one and why?
I would say still venture engine, even though that happened, I think about
2015, I think.
2015, yes, that was 5 years ago.
5 years ago.
5 years ago, but back then, because it gave us a sense that a lot of people believed in the product. So that was the most important thing for us, and that's what is keeping the company alive today. So a lot of people believed in us. They
It's made of a recognition, no?
Yeah, recognition, and the award was for the most vulnerable startup of 2015. So we didn't necessarily raise capital out of it, but gave us a lot of exposure on how business work and how these venture companies invest into startups and whatnot. And also gave us confidence in our business and in which direction we need to take our business forward.
Okay. Now, see, that's all good. The way you have done it at 26 now. You started at a very young age. Now, we are the early 30s.
Yes.
I talk to a lot of friends who have been in your same shoes in terms of working for a corporate. Most of the talk right now among boys and girls, of course, mainly boys because I hang out with a lot of them. Many would say, had enough of working for someone else, we need to do something. We got to do something on our own. We have to be our own boss. That's pretty much the talk. But the thing is, most of them, at least 95%, you just talk. Okay. Now, but then I read some articles. I was talking to an economist friend of mine, and what she was saying was, Sri Lanka right now is an entrepreneur's paradise. Startups pop up every day now, and in our age group, many people have this conversation. But some are quite hesitant because they don't want to get out of that comfort zone. They don't want to quit their job. That's a steady income.
Yes.
My best friend says it all the time. He's got plenty of ideas, the IT guy, but he will constantly say that risk of taking that, giving up that income. What if I fail? Some of us, okay, there's a comfort zone. You can fall back on your parents who are well wealthy, or there's that. But then for people of certain, like, this is it for me. If it's it, I'm done. I'm finished. Who are hesitant, entrepreneurs who could be future entrepreneurs, but who are hesitant. What would your advice be from your learnings, from your career? What would the advice be?
Make sure you do enough or ample research on the idea that you have, and make sure that it's feasible. You need to make sure, when you launch, there is a market for whatever the product or service that you're trying to offer.
I guess in your case, something unique, something no one else could
of course, and you have to differentiate. So differentiate, be innovative, make sure that there is a market for whatever the product or service that you're trying to launch. I think the number one factor would be research, and then once you've got that out of the way, then it's about putting in the hours and giving a lot of commitment to getting that idea into taking that idea into reality.
Yes. So when you say research, the foundation of everything, the business as a startup, the research would be that whether this will work in terms of what are you doing different in the market, is there a potential for profits, that kind of research.
Of course.
Then once you have that ready, put in your effort and your time. Okay. I have watched and learned from anyone and everyone who I think is inspirational from business and everything. And even a lot of people say this very famously. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, celebrity as you know, he did a motivational speech for the Los Angeles Lakers a couple of years ago.
Okay.
And when he was asked what motivates you, he was basically telling that no matter how many things and ventures I have, every project I face, I do it as if my back is against the wall. And there's no other way to go but front. And what role, teach us a little bit about taking risks to a lot of these young entrepreneurs. This is the factor that a lot of people are scared of. You started this at 26 against your parents' advice. You believed in yourself and you went forward with it, and now you're here. At that age, you don't know whether Stripes and Checks will be here at 26. You wouldn't have never known. You just want to see you were trying. Did you have a comfort zone in terms of, okay, you know what, now you did tell me early in the interview that you will drop back into the corporate because of the education and the career, but business is a whole new thing. There's money involved, a lot of capital. Two friends are involved, their money. You need to, one is they put a lot of trust. Did you take that same approach that, you know what, it's either do or die for me? I'm going all the way.
Yeah, of course, definitely. Thing is, and I was more afraid of failing. So I didn't want to be known as, okay, Gajan started Stripes and Checks and then it didn't really work out. They had to close shop. So didn't want that reputational, I wouldn't say damage, but I didn't want to be known for that.
Okay, but then people do fail, and some of the entrepreneurs, if you look at the ones all over the world, they say, well, even Steve Jobs, he failed and got fired by Apple, then he came back. But then failing is not a bad thing, but I guess you were a bit scared of it?
Yeah, didn't want that to happen. So yeah, always strive to be better and like improve on what we have done. I think we have come a long way, still learning. But yeah, I think failure was fear of failure. So didn't want to go anywhere close to failing. So
that's another thing that a lot of people talk about. Well, entrepreneurs and successful people. Well, the fear of failure. Nothing can motivate you more than the fear of failure when you're starting your business. There's only way up, and there's only one way. It's either up or forward. That's what we learned from Mr. Gajan Vinothan today, my guest on the Big Boss Show. More things to talk about, a little bit more on Stripes and Checks and his ambitions. And we get a little bit, we were talking about asking a little bit of advice. We'll also find out more about him and some questions around as well to kind of put a little fun into this. This will be very serious. Do you think this
I think we're okay, casual.
Doing very okay?
Yeah.
Okay, when we are back, we're going to be, talking to Mr. Gajan Vinothan further. But this is another song he really likes, and his taste, where the influence comes from. This is the Eagles giving you Learn to Be Still. Well, Penny Lover. I have a Penny Lover on the show today. Our guest, of course, Mr. Gajan Vinothan, co-founder and CEO of Stripes and Checks. We are talking to him about his, we basically got a little bit of advice in terms of his experience, his learnings into being an entrepreneur, and how the business scene is right now. Now, coming back to you, Mr. Vinothan, is Stripes and Checks everything about your life right now? Is that it? Or is there any other ambitions outside of this? In the future, what are we working on?
Nope. Right now, it's all my focus is on Stripes and Checks.
But you were telling me about how you want to expand this outside the country.
Yes.
Going into outlets in how have you worked on that?
Not outlets, but we want to see how online retailing works. I mean, sell overseas through our website.
Okay, do you have Sri Lankan businesses doing that format who have done well outside? Now, I know Kumar Sangakkara and Maila Jayawardena with their restaurant business have gone out of Sri Lanka, brought the Sri Lankan flair outside. Are you thinking of any on that end? Any inspirations from anyone?
Not really, but I think a couple of our female fashion players in the market, I think, if I'm not mistaken, Kelly Felder and G Flock, I think they are selling overseas.
Yeah, G Flock is. I didn't know about Kelly Felder.
I think both of them are, and they're doing some pretty decent volumes from what I hear.
Mm-hmm.
So we're also looking at that approach, and what we want to do is see if we can target Melbourne or Sydney in Australia.
Are you targeting the Sri Lankan expat community there?
Starting off with targeting the Sri Lankan expat.
See, when you talk about expanding a Sri Lankan business abroad, are you catering to that audience in that country, or are you taking our fashion, our sense of fashion, Sri Lankan style into these countries?
A little bit of both.
A little bit of both.
Yes.
Do you see there's potential for our fashion, Sri Lankan fashion, like the sarongs? Because I remember maybe a decade ago, David Beckham wore a sarong for somewhere.
Okay.
And that became a viral thing. Wow, he's wearing a Sri Lankan sarong. And do you see potential for our fashion?
There is. I mean, say, if you look at batiks, I think there is a little bit of potential, or the word is going around.
Right.
And people are slowly trying that option out. But I mean, if you look at what we do or Stripes and Checks does, I think it's more or less. I mean, there are other players doing it in the market. I mean, if you look at it, we sell shirts, but I think we have a point in case where value offering that we have when you compare with a product that is bought overseas.
Okay.
So quality versus cost. So I think we are at a sweet spot, and hopefully we can exploit that when selling overseas.
That's something I would really like to see in the fashion industry. Kind of Sri Lanka getting a name,
of course,
for its dressing sense.
Because what we were known as, Sri Lanka was known as before, was as a manufacturing destination, and not as a not known for our brands. So let's focus on our core competency, which is manufacturing, and make a brand out of it and try and push it to the
But we don't have that brand yet, no?
We don't. So that's, hopefully that's what we are trying to work on.
Fantastic.
As a company. And
fantastic. That's something that I would really like, because we bring we import all these things into our country and we sell it and we say it's nice and luxurious. I would like the Western world to recognize us for our tradition.
Of course.
We just need a name, a brand.
Yes.
That's what we're all hoping for. So hopefully, all
That's
the very
the
best
plan.
on
That's
that
the
end.
plan.
Fantastic. I would love to see our country making a name for itself. We talked all about business. I heard that your passions are cars and basketball. When you say cars, do you like to have a collection of cars, or are you just interested in cars, like Top Gear, watching shows, or what does that mean?
Both. Obviously the former requires you to have a lot of money to be able to have a collection, but
that's your only thing in your early 30s.
Yeah.
You will become that at one point.
Of course, let's hope so.
And basketball. Sports also play a big part in our role, and we learn a lot from sports, especially teamwork, how you adjust with people and strategizing. So your main sports, of course, that you played was basketball.
Yeah.
Does that have any role in your sense of business, personal?
Not, I wouldn't say it has. Reflecting back, I don't think it has. But it in terms of teamwork, yes, because when you're playing the game, it's a lot of coordination and a lot of teamwork. So maybe that you could say that a little bit of that applies to what I do. But in essence, no, not other than for that, I don't think there is. But but for me personally, I think keeping fit is something that everyone needs to do, and it helps me think better, instills discipline.
Good health also.
Yeah.
So deviating a little bit, going back to school, since you brought up basketball. Any achievements in basketball? I know Pep didn't really do much in sports, but we did have teams. But how was your luck at Stafford?
Stafford, not really. Didn't play a lot when I was Stafford, but in the corporate, I think PwC and Amba, I think we had a superb time playing basketball.
You played Mercantile family.
Yes, and started at the lowest division. And I think we came to the finals and lost.
Wow.
At this thing, and a lot of fun. Met a beautiful bunch of people playing the game, and enjoyed it thoroughly.
Oh, that's good. At least in the Mercantile, and you saw some success. Because
yes.
at prep you don't really get a lot. But anyway, see, entrepreneurs, we work in Sri Lanka. We use our resources and we try to do something back for the country in terms of recognition. But at the end of the day, it's a profits game.
Of course.
You're trying to make some money out of it and also make a name for yourself.
Definitely.
But then there's another part of it. The fancy term that corporates use is corporate social responsibility. In terms of, how I put it is giving back to the community and the country that gave everything to us.
Yeah.
We got everything out of this. What do you do personally, or is there a role that SNC, Cyprus and Checks, is looking into giving back to the community?
The only thing that we are currently doing is, I think I would say, is empowering, because we can easily import finished garments straight from either China or India, straight, and try and sell it here. But what we are doing is importing, and we want to manufacture it here that gives opportunity to people that we work with. So even, we have about 50 people working with us in-house, 40 close to 35 in
And
manufacturing.
your designers are local as well?
Designers are, I mean, I mainly do the designing myself, but manufacturing happens in-house, and we also buy capacity and work with a few factories that we...
So you have created some job opportunities for the local market.
Definitely.
Absolutely. That there's nothing better than you can do for the country than create job opportunities. That's what, as entrepreneurs, you always look for. Yeah, that was basically my question. Not that you have a charity arm of Swipes and Checks, but basically what your contribution is. And that's commendable.
And we look after our employees pretty well. So I don't think labor turnover at our end is very low. Barely. No one has left us.
Yeah, fantastic. Okay, let me ask you the question since you mentioned that. Are you hiring now? Hiring anyone? Any hiring?
Not really. No, not for the moment. No.
Okay, because Dr. Ashadi was the last week when she came. She was hiring.
Okay.
Said people, we had put it out in the open.
Okay.
Applications. If you're hiring, you can.
We are looking for sales staff for a new showroom.
Wow. Okay. Well, there you go. On the show itself, Mr. Gajan Vinothan said he requires sales staff for our showrooms. He is opening his second showroom in Mount Lavinia. So there's job opportunities out there. So let Big Boss Show be the platform where we put the call out. If anyone is interested, do call us on the show and let us know.
Anyone interested in the fashion, menswear industry.
Okay. And your website, you can go and get this information of this vacancy?
On our social media page. Facebook.
Social media pages. Stripes and Checks. Go have a look. And if you are interested, do contact through the Facebook channel. And if you got the knack for it, you definitely get an opportunity at Stripes and Checks. Now, we talked about entrepreneurship as well in this country. Now, you started at 26.
Yes.
You're here at 33. You're going places now. You're expanding all throughout. Sri Lanka right now, how exciting is it for an entrepreneur? And if someone decides to start a business here in this country, based on your learning and maybe how these have evolved, what are the challenges right now you see in Sri Lanka? And easy, hard, or this could be a bit better. Any thoughts on that?
It depends on the industry that you're looking at, but
okay. Let's just take your industry, fashion.
I would say it's pretty hard.
Hard? Why?
Because you're catering to a very small market. I mean, if you look at our population, it's only 22
million.
Yeah, million people. So, and okay, we are into menswear, and women's wear it's a lot different, but menswear is different in the sense men generally don't shop as
much as a woman would.
as women do.
Mm-hmm.
So and our market is very mature, so a lot of players in the market and all of that. So I think there is scope, but it's not easy.
Okay, that's more in terms of finding out whether there's an opportunity or a gap that as a company you can fill.
Yes.
You were talking about how customization wasn't a big deal. Men didn't really have the choices that you found abroad, overseas. But let's just say you're going about starting a business. How easy or difficult was it for you to start it up?
No. Starting a business, I would say...
once you got all your research done, you know what you're going to do.
Yeah.
Then what? How easy is
it? Then it boils down to capital, right?
Yeah.
And it's whether you have that amount of capital or how are you going to raise that? Are you going to bring investors in, or because based on an idea, you can't generally go and pitch to a financial institution here unless you have unless you can mortgage something.
Okay.
So raising capital, if you want to go to a financial institution and try and raise capital on an idea, very difficult, won't happen.
Even with a proper feasible business plan? No?
Nope, not going to happen.
Well, then what else do they want?
I mean, financial institutions here would obviously want, like, say...
something to mortgage on,
yes,
an asset.
Some
kind of a security.
Yes.
Because even Mr. Chanda Shafter, now did you know that he started Janashakti Insurance at the age of 64?
Oh, no.
Yeah,
not
at his entire cricket career, even all that. Of course, he's played cricket in the 50s.
Yeah.
He said that starting getting capital was very difficult. He had to go shop with a lot of people.
Yeah.
So, how was it for you? How did you get this going? Because you had friends and you had capital of your own, or did you also have to mortgage? What was the difficulty?
No, so it mainly through both my co-founders and eventually the banks stepped in and helped us.
Would you say that for financial institutions it's easier to give you money when they know you yourself are invested, or that play a role?
No, obviously that too helps, but you need to have been in business for a certain period of time for them to trust you and for them to lend money to you.
But setting up, once you cover that all areas, setting up and getting the business going isn't difficult in this country.
Nope.
Not really.
No.
Fantastic. So it's basically about research, no? Getting your plans correctly done, and having that base work, and then go out shopping for money. Okay, understood. We're speaking to Mr. Gajan Vinothan today. We are talking about his entrepreneurial activity with Stripes and Checks. We are learning a lot from him based on his experiences, his schooling career. When we are back, it's going to be our last segment on the Big Boss Show. We'll be talking, taking a little bit more on the fun side, asking him a couple of questions. And, he's a young chap. There's a lot of fun things he would be doing. And he is known to be a fun type, of course. If you look at the media of all the stuff that you look at, he's a young chap, so he'll do young man things. Right, Mr. Vinothan?
Let's hope so.
Okay, when we are back, we're going to go for a small break. Thank our sponsors who make this show possible. When we are back, we'll be talking to Mr. Vinothan further. And also, we'll be coming back with another song that Mr. Vinothan has picked for himself, a song he likes. So Elton John coming up on the other side. Your time is 10:18. So Elton John giving you your song. Now, the gentleman recently won an Academy Award as well for his song he did for his biopic, Rocket Man. So congratulations to Sir Elton John. Coming back onto the Big Boss Show, you're tuned in with Mr. Gajan Vinothan, my guest today. CEO and co-founder, Stripes and Checks. We are talking everything about his entrepreneurial career, what we can learn from him, how he found it when he started the business, his career, his beginnings, his working life, all of that. Now, we're going to ask him some questions. Maybe, get a little bit get to know a little bit more about you.
Personal stuff.
And also touching on other areas also. Now, you are into fashion.
Yes.
So, there should be some kind of inspiration or a favorite designer. A fashion designer you would love to meet, and why?
Fashion designer I would love to meet, and why? I would say Tom Ford.
Really?
Yeah, he has made a name for himself very far. I mean, he's been a designer for ages, but with his own brand, he has come out, I think.
What's his brand?
It's called Tom Ford, yeah.
Okay.
So, and I think he launched that about 5 years ago, if I'm not mistaken.
So he's also a young chap?
Relatively, yes.
Okay.
I think maybe 40s, if I'm not mistaken.
So have you found some inspiration from him for your business at Stripes and Checks?
A little bit.
A little bit?
Yeah.
Okay. One thing Sri Lanka can learn from the West about the fashion industry, and so that's basically a comparison from the West or wherever to Sri Lanka. One thing local industry could learn from there.
These styles, I mean, but Stripes and Checks, when we sell our shirts, what we found is our Sri Lankan market is not very, they like to play safe, not very ambitious, and say if we go with very bold prints, doesn't really sell a lot. The safer prints move better, so the transition is a little slow.
So you find it that in the Western world or in other countries, they are more daring when it comes to fashion?
Yes, I would. That's the better word to use.
Yeah. What's stopping us from being that? Is it the fact that we don't want to take risks? Or
I think it's the taking the risk factor.
But when I looked at the fashion industry and when I was doing my research on you and how it works in the industry right now, there's a lot of new players doing a lot of new things. There are Suits and Ties one. So a couple of other players who are doing something different.
Yeah, it's opening up now.
Okay.
So say if you step out in the evenings now, you see people with their sense of fashion flair is a little more bolder than a lot of the others, and it's slowly developing. So I think maybe give it a matter of maybe a year or two, you'll find it a little more prominent.
But it's very Colombo, no? That kind of trend is very Colombo.
It's mainly in Colombo, definitely not outside.
Okay, and that's also another area we could improve on, coming out of Colombo, that kind of fashion sense. Or do you see potential there? No.
I think there is potential online, because you're not going to get people coming into Colombo and buying stuff, but through social media and all other platforms, if they like what they see, then okay, they'll order.
But outside Colombo, you don't see a potential for an outlet, an opportunity?
big cities, yes, but otherwise not really.
much.
It's mainly online, though, because I mean, cost of opening an outlet is also there. So, and online doesn't really, there is no cost involved. So,
Right.
shipping only.
But I think as a country, the industry as a whole, what we need to be is more daring when it comes to our fashion.
Yep.
Okay.
If we want to adopt what the West, if we want to move in line with the West.
Okay. Next question. You love cars, favorite car, and any particular reason if you have any? A dream car that you want to own?
I would say a Subaru WRX.
Really? Subaru, huh? Subaru?
Japanese.
Mine's Lamborghini Gallardo. You didn't think of that in an Italian car, no?
Affordability, I have to be practical
No,
also.
you can dream, no? I'm telling you, dream. Don't think affordability, dream.
I mean, dream, I would say Porsche 911.
Right. There are a couple of Porsches coming, driving around in the Colombo roads.
Of
Probably
course.
you'll be one of them in the future.
Let's hope so.
You're into sports with basketball. A sports star you would like to meet?
I haven't thought about this actually, but
Anyone off the top of the head? So, do you follow the NBA?
No.
You don't.
I don't really watch basketball. But if you ask me as a sports star whom I would like to meet, I would say the person who's next, who's on your show next week.
Mr. Kumar Sangakkara?
Yeah.
So
maybe
he's my...
it'll be maybe good to have a chat with him.
So Mr. Kumar Sangakkara is my next weekend's gift on the Big
Okay,
Boss show.
nice.
Okay, superb. The perfect holiday destination and why? Beach, city, what? Perfect holiday destination. I read somewhere that you like LA. Is that the place?
LA is nice, very relaxed.
LA is relaxed?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, at least while I was there. I mean,
Okay.
I was there on holiday, so it's only fair for me to say that it was.
So Los Angeles is your perfect destination.
One of my favorite, and I would also like Asia. I mean, explore city. I mean, I haven't been to Bali, but definitely want to go there.
My next destination too. Everyone's raving on about Bali.
Free, no visa.
No visa. That's what I heard. Everyone's raving about Bali. Just wanted to go and check it out. A philosophy you follow in life and the inspiration of that philosophy, not particularly to do with stripes and checks. I know yours, customization, all that. You as a person, personally.
Work. I mean, I'd say work hard and be true to yourself.
Okay, be honest and work hard. Okay. And also, I wanted to put out the question, you're 33 very soon, and when I did my research, I did not find any information of, one, you're obviously not married. Two, I did not find any link of you being with any girl. So, are you actually single?
Yeah, pretty much.
So you have to think a little bit or just flat out, no, I'm single?
No, I'm single.
Are you interested in getting married anytime soon?
Of course, not married. Or I wouldn't say marriage is a very strong word there, but settle down. Yeah.
Are you looking?
Not actively, but let's see what comes.
So would you like this opportunity on the show to put out the fact that you're available in the market? Any potential applicants can try.
I mean, you can try. Yeah.
Okay, let's do that at the Big Boss show. Well, my guest today, Mr. Gajan Vinothan, is single and not actively looking, but it's up to you to change his mind, right?
That's a good way of putting it.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Your favorite pastime activity? See, you live a very busy lifestyle with work and it's your business, so it takes a lot of your effort. What favorite pastime? Something to de-stress, cool down.
I like driving. So, say when I'm stressed or verify this thing, I sometimes just jump into the car and just maybe do a drive somewhere.
And that helps you wind down.
With good music, yes, playing in the car.
Yeah, we got legends on it, man. Good music all the way.
My problem is my car doesn't. The radio station in my car doesn't go beyond 93. I think
that's the problem. You're missing out on good music. I tell you, Mr. Vinothan, you need to sort that radio thing out very, very soon.
Or need to switch cars. Yeah.
Okay, go ahead, do that too. Now, a lot of people, when I was doing some research of what people think of you, and I personally know you as well, you're known as a very cool-headed guy. No one has ever seen you angry, but then that can't be true. We are all humans. Anger is a big part of our emotion. Have you ever lost your temper? Do you get stressed at all? How do you handle that kind of?
Very rarely, very rarely.
Tell me one instance where you got angry. What makes you angry? Or stressed? Anything?
Not. I mean, no, maybe not some. I mean, I think if at all it happens mainly at work, and that's maybe not doing what was meant to be done or something. But you can't get angry. So I mean, you find ways of.
I mean, it's an official or a professional environment.
So you can't get
but
angry. But I mean, I generally I keep it in and then eventually you forget about it. So
pretty much you kind of handle things in a very calm manner.
Yes.
Okay. Define your fun time. How would you define on a fun time for you?
My fun time would, maybe after work, going for a drink or doing a drive. So sometimes we do a Sunday drive. I do a Sunday drive with a couple of friends. Head out to Colombo, maybe an hour's drive, have some breakfast and come back. So that's soothing for me.
Okay. We're coming to the latter part of the show, probably the final segment of the show. You are involved in Stripes and Checks, you are in business, you're at an age where you put completely your focus and effort on the business. But what is your personal end game? Now, I know you're ambitious about Stripes and Checks. What is your personal end game, and what is it that you want to achieve now? It can be business, or maybe it's personal. Now, if you ask me, it's about making the most money I can and live a very luxurious, rich lifestyle. So, what would your personal end goal be?
Building a brand that hopefully can be world renowned.
Maybe world renowned.
Hopefully.
Okay, so I guess your professional ambition and personal ambition coincides?
Yeah, personal is, settle down. I don't have any wants as such, but something simple.
Okay, so I guess from what I get from you, balance of that, but I think your professional ambitions kind of dominate your personal one, no?
Yes, you can say
that. In terms of you want your legacy to be about Stripes and Checks and what you did with it, correct?
Pretty much.
Okay, my last question.
Not all of it, but most of it.
Most of it.
Yeah.
Okay, apart from that then, what else would you do?
No, then I suppose family and things like that.
Okay. My last question to you. You're a young entrepreneur, you have a couple of awards to back you up, and when I was doing it for you, you're doing it at a young age. Many would look up to you and say, I wish I had that brain or that courage to start my business at 26. Okay, maybe not be brain looking at your facial reaction, but at least your learnings have made you smarter and wiser.
Of course.
And many would like to be in that position, even myself looking at you. But if you wanted to define your career maybe now or in the future, someone who looks at you and says, Mr. Gajan Vinothan, the co-founder and the CEO, how would you like to define your entrepreneurship, your career in starting a business in terms of, let me give you, if I want to give you an idea, Mr. Chandra Shapta, when I asked him, what is your legacy, how would you, someone who did something personal and professional wise, as someone who never did anyone any wrong. He was more focused on morals and ethics. What would you like to define your work at Stripes and Checks in your future and your work?
So, be known as someone, as a person who built this up from scratch and maybe hopefully take it somewhere. And be quiet about it. Not really keen on a lot of people. I don't actively go and market myself or personal brand myself personally out there. So it's more of keeping quiet, keep staying low, and then doing your thing.
Okay, so mainly I think you would want Stripes and Checks bigger, well known, more than who Mr. Gajan Vinothan.
Of course, yeah.
Play a bit of a low key.
That's
is that the character that you are personally? You want to play things very low key?
Yes.
Okay, I guess because I see that you don't do a lot of interviews, but even then the sense I got is you even do it because you want the company to be kind of recognized, and because of that.
More brand building for the business.
Okay, but you do realize this show was not about your brand building. This was about you.
Definitely.
Okay, so we are coming to the end of the show. This is the end. So I wanted to ask you now, have you ever done a radio interview in this length, or have you ever done an interview like this?
First radio interview ever.
Okay, and what was your experience like?
Good. It's interesting, different.
Yeah, not many people ask more about you, no. Mainly they talk about Stripes and Checks. So what was it like going back into, we were talking about your childhood, your parents?
Good. It got me reflecting back on my past and the happy memories that it created.
Nice. Well, I want to tell you, Mr. Vinothan, that talking to you, I have learnt a lot. looking at your career, your 6 years in the business that you're in. I'm sure you who are listening out there, any young entrepreneurs out there who are aspiring to be an entrepreneur, trying to start that business, we were talking about the hesitation we feel in giving up your comfort zone. And we spoke to Mr. Vinothan about that. Sometimes you just got to go for it. And, I brought up the example about Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson talking about how every project he faces it as his back is against the wall. And you, Ms. Gajan, you were saying that, sometimes you just got to have that kind of attitude, do or die.
Of course.
So we learned a lot from on the show. Thank you to Mr. Gajan Vinothan for coming. I know you're a young chap who doesn't really spend a lot of Saturday mornings outside home.
Yeah.
Mostly it's at home trying to kind of get your battery back up. But thank you for making the time coming here and for teaching us. We learned a lot from you today. And all the very best for your endeavor at Stripes and Checks.
Thanks, CJ. Thanks for having me over.
Okay.
Had a lovely time.
Oh, you're welcome, and good to have you on the show. Well, for you out there, stick around. We'll be talking about the Valentine Puppy Adoption Program that we're doing. It started at 10:30 at Tayo Bear. If you're out and about, if you're planning to go out, go there, check it out. And it's 20 puppies are up for adoption. Our crew from Legends are there as well. And you check out the Facebook page as well. There might be some live videos there. Do have a look on that. Well, the Big Boss Show comes to a conclusion until next Saturday. Oh, I did tell you on the show that Mr. Kumar Sangakkara is my next guest. So everyone's excited here on this side of Legends as well. And I'm sure you are too. Have a look at our website, legends966.com, and our Facebook page as well, facebook.com/legends966. Until next Saturday, technically on Monday because I'll be on the morning bus. Until then, this is CJ saying bye. And Mr. Gajan Vinothan, any final parting words?
Thank you for having me. Hope the listeners enjoyed the 1.5 hours.
I'm sure they did. We got some WhatsApp messages saying that it was an interesting interview.
Okay.
Well, thank you very much. Take care of yourselves. Have a lovely rest of the day. The Big Boss Show is coming to an end.
See you guys.
Legends 966.